Welcome everyone. As you can see from the screen, my name is Tracy Mejia Ureña. I'm the Scholarships and Event Specialist for CUNY BA, and you are here in the Scholarships Workshop. I just wanted to bring it all together in terms of our team. Some of you are new students, some of you are current CUNY BA students at different points in their education, but we have a team this year is ready for takeoff that we launch in our new student orientation in August. So I just wanted to come back to that to say that we are ready for takeoff. The semester started, you're grabbing your passport to opportunity, and some of those opportunities are scholarships that we offer here at CUNY BA for you guys. All right, so I'm going to give you some knowledge and information about funding opportunities. And the first thing that I wanted to discuss is that we have one-time awards and continuous funding. And by we have, I mean in CUNY BA, but also this knowledge or information applies outside CUNY BA because this is how many other institutions or programs work. So we have scholarships or awards that may be for tuition or other educational expenses. They are generally a one-time award with not further obligations. Currently, we do have one award that you could apply again the following semester, but most of our scholarships and awards are a one-time only that you could receive through your time at CUNY BA. Then we have fellowships in general. They're meant to continue every semester or academic year if you meet certain eligibility requirements. And they may also include tuition or other educational expenses. At CUNY BA, we have one fellowship, the Thomas W. Smith Academic Fellowship, available to students. Then we have need-based or merit-based awards or scholarships. The need-based requires applicants either to demonstrate or explain their financial need, and the merit-based prioritizes academic achievements. And at CUNY BA, we have a mix of both as well. CUNY BA fellowships and scholarships are funded through private donors, and they are exclusively for CUNY BA students. This is why I emphasize a lot our opportunities to students, because you are part of the CUNY system. You are welcome to apply to opportunities through your campus, obviously financial aid, federal and state, or any other external scholarship. But what we have here at CUNY BA is only for you, so you have higher chances of getting it, and it makes sense for you to look at them since you're a CUNY BA student. So that's important to keep in mind. Another very important piece of information is that CUNY BA scholarships are direct monetary awards to the student. What that means is that you have a home campus, you pay tuition to the home campus, but we do not send these awards to the home campus to pay your tuition. They are given directly to you in the form of a check, and as such, they are taxable because they're non-tuition awards to the student. The Graduate Center does not provide a 1099 miscellaneous form, so it is important that you check with your tax advisor in terms of like any tax implications that these awards have for each individual person or family. Now, this is what's available this fall 2025 to CUNY BA students. Right now, we have 2 scholarships accepting applications until September 30. We have the Barbara Price Scholarship, which is for first semester CUNY BA students. And if you, I think some of you are in this meeting, if you attended the new student orientation, you'll remember me talking about this one. So if you're a first semester CUNY BA student, not a first semester CUNY student, but a first semester CUNY BA student, this is your time to apply. And you have until September 30. Then the Anne Duncan Thompson Memorial Fund is for first generation CUNY BA students. You could be at any point in your time at CUNY BA. You don't have to be just a first semester, as long as you're first generation. And what that means is that neither your mom or your mother or father have received a higher education degree, either here in the United States or outside the United States. And in the website, which my colleague will be dropping in the chat, you will see like all the definitions of what that means. Like we have it, everything specified on each scholarship. Now, October 1st, we're opening up 3 different opportunities. The first one is kind of self-explanatory because is for students that are in social work, human services, health education. So if your AOCs are related to any of those areas, they don't have to have, like be just about social work or human services. Like if you have a combination of any of these areas, you qualify to apply for that. The Barbara Sproul Scholarship is for students interested in religious studies, and kind of the same concept. Your AOC does not have to be religious studies. As long as it is related and you're taking courses in religious studies and studying religion, then you could apply for that. And the B. Diane Gibson Memorial Fund is for non-traditional students. We do have a very specific definition of what that means in our website. So you could take a look at that, but it's 7 different categories. And if you have any of those, then you're considering non-traditional students and you could apply for this. And then our last cycle, I would say, will be from November 1st to November 13th. This is when our Thomas W. Smith Academic Fellowship is accepting applications. So you are all welcome to take a look at that. It's for academic excellence, so it has very specific requirements. It's about 6 to 8 different type of requirements that we have, but obviously the main one is that you're in good academic standing, and the more you're the more competitive, the more like a stronger GPA, a stronger academics that you have for when you apply. Now, the Barbara Price Opportunity Fund is an opportunity fund that has 3 different type of grants. One of them is for study abroad. We have another one for unpaid internships, and the other one is for undergraduate research. So if you're thinking of any of those high impact practices, make sure that you take a look at our opportunity fund. And I also encourage you to think about those high impact practices because we have opportunity funds, so you may get a chance to get some support to do those as well. Now, there's a lot of information on each one of these opportunities. It is important that you go to our website. Like I mentioned, it will be dropped in the chat, and then you read thoroughly each one of the requirements for each opportunity because it's not all the same. So now I want to talk to you a little bit more about the application process, because obviously this is one of the most important parts. But first of all, I just want to again highlight the fact that these are all open to only to CUNY BA students. So don't feel intimidated because you're technically not competing with all of CUNY. It's just within CUNY BA. So you have like a higher chance in a sense to getting support from the program that you're part of. Now, the 3 main components are an online application. All our scholarship applications are online. Under each one on the website, you'll see that it tells you apply here, like each one has their own section. It's not one application for all of them. Then a very important piece is your academic record. So make sure that everything is up to date with your academic advisor at CUNY BA, because that will be translating into your CUNY First record. And once the review committee meets, we're looking at your CUNY First record. So if you have, I don't know, an AOC form that you haven't submitted and you're changing your AOCs and then your courses do not match your AOC, or you're changing things and then you're like writing about an AOC and we see in CUNY First that is something else, it doesn't really make sense, so make sure that everything is up to date, that you're submitting your AOC forms, that if you're over 90 credits, you're doing your graduation audit, so that when we pull your academic records from CUNY First to review your scholarship application, we can see the most up-to-date information for you. Now, the other very important part is the online recommendation form. At CUNY BA, we have one online recommendation form for all the scholarships except the Thomas W. Smith Academic Fellowship. The way that this happens is that you complete your application. In the online application, you have to put in your recommenders information, their name, title, organization, and email. Once you submit your scholarship application, they get an email with instructions and an online form that they have to fill out. And it has very specific questions. It has a space for them to write about you, and it gives them direct prompts about what we want to know. And once that's submitted, then they have completed the recommendation part of your application process. Now, for the Thomas W. Smith Academic Fellowship, we do request a letter of recommendation, ideally by your faculty member. So you should have a faculty member at that point, and if not, at least a CUNY faculty member that you have worked with. And they will also get an email once you put in their information, and the email will tell them what we want to know about you and what they should add in the letter and how to get the letter back to us. So all of that will happen automatically once you submit your application. So it is important that by the time you're ready to submit your application, you have a recommender to put in on the application, and that you also have let them know that you'll be putting down their name. So that's the part of the application. Now the review timeline, so you have an idea, this also makes students nervous because they're waiting to hear back. Once an application closes, it takes about 2 weeks for us to put all these applications together, get all the documents back, and like prepare our rubric. And then the committee meets, review the applications. And after that, our letters of rejections emails are distributed. So we're about 3 weeks after the closing of the application. So for those that are closing September 30th, you will hear back the second or third week of October. Oh yes, I added a note once you submit your application. A note comes up saying, "Thank you, Tracy, for submitting your application. You will hear back by this date." So you'll be able to see that there. But I understand sometimes students are nervous and they're emailing like, "I haven't heard back." So I just want to let you know, please give us 2 or 3 weeks and we'll get back to you. And we get back to everyone, those that are receiving the award and those that are not.
Does the recommender have to be someone in the CUNY system?
It doesn't have to be for all the other scholarships. For the Thomas W. Smith Academic Fellowship, it has to be a CUNY faculty member that has worked with you. But for the other ones, it could be somebody that you worked with in another college. So if you were a transfer student, or if you are coming back to school after many years and you have a lot of professional experience. It could also be a previous manager if you don't have like anyone else in an academic environment to ask. So those could be your recommenders. Just again, for the Thomas W. Smith Academic Fellowship, it does have to be a faculty member that writes your letter of recommendation. In the award letter, you will get an email with some forms that you have to fill out and detailed instructions on how this happened and how you will get your award check. Like I mentioned before, is directly awarded to you. There are very few instances where the check is not awarded to you, and I will work one-on-one with students that are in that situation. But other than that, the awards are directly paid to you. So there is a lot of some bullet points in here. I put it this way because we're gonna be sending out these slides in a PDF format. But just in general, I wanted to say a couple things about how to ask for a recommendation. Make sure that you ask in a professional way a couple weeks in advance, ideally via email, but sometimes if you're meeting your professor, you could just tell them that you know your professor. So if you feel like you could just talk to them after class or in their office hours and just tell them that you will be adding them to this application and they will get an automated email. So just explain that part to them, because sometimes they are waiting to hear in another way, or they just send a letter out of nowhere. Just let them know that they will be getting an email from us. It should say CUNY BA scholarships, like from, and then it will explain the process to them there. Of course, ask them to submit it by the deadline. You will see the deadline when the submissions need to be done. Also, once you submit your application and it tells you, "Thank you for submitting your application," it'll have the information in there. But generally, the online form is due a couple days after the application closes, just because if you apply on September 30, we have to give your recommender at least a couple days for them to complete the form, because they do not get it until you actually submit your application. The only thing is that for the Smith Fellowship, the letter is due on the last day, so November 30. Even if you apply on that day, the letter should be in our inbox by that day, because you should be planning on this in advance, and the person could be writing the letter even before you apply, because you should have talked to them before already, not the last day of the application. So I hope that you'll plan in advance. Another point is to make sure to give them a little summary of your achievements so that they have something to write, unless they already know everything that you have been doing. But if there's a couple things that they don't know, it's good for you to tell them as well. And make sure to thank your recommenders afterwards, even if you do not get the scholarship, but just the fact that they took the time to write the letter for you and submit the application. I mean, submit the online form for you.
Are
Yeah.
recommendations needed for every scholarship?
Yes, they are. So every scholarship requires a recommendation letter, not letter, the online form, and then the top and stuff you submit the letter. The one thing, because you said scholarship, but I want to clarify, we have a Barbara Price Opportunity Fund. That fund, we have some grants within that fund. We do not require an online recommendation form for that. That's for the study abroad, undergraduate research. And the unpaid internship, that doesn't require any recommender. All the other ones they do. Another information heavy slide is application questions best practices. So like I was mentioning before, our application is online. So how it looks like, you go in, you're gonna put your name, some like information that we ask you, the AOC, home campus, employee ID. And then there are questions that are tailored to each scholarship. So all the scholarships don't have the same questions. That's the first thing. So you should really be paying attention to the questions. And what I recommend is that you go in, you copy the questions, put them in a Word document, and then you type and do all your thinking in a separate Word document or word processing. And then once you're ready, then you copy your answers and submit them into the actual online application. Unless, I mean, some people like to work on the online. The system is pretty good. It usually doesn't shut you down, but that is the best recommendation that I could give you to do your answers and work on them on a word processing document. The other thing, I mean, you see some of the bullet points in here, but make sure that you are being truthful to what you're writing, that is connecting to the scholarship, in that you're answering the full question. Some questions have like a couple parts to it, so make sure that you're addressing all of them. What I was saying about being truthful, what's most important is that what is your story and what makes your story unique. As you know, CUNY BA is about being unique and creating your own degree. So we want to know about that. Each scholarship has different questions, but they all come to what are your goals, what are you working towards, what is unique about you. Of course, once you meet the requirements, then it's that part of like explaining why do you deserve this scholarship and how are you connecting to the goals. Also, you could read, each scholarship will tell you what it's about. Like we have the scholarship for first generation students. So obviously there will be a question about being first generation, your experience and what this means and things like that. So you don't have to feel intimidated, just like work in the questions. Okay, so that was a lot of talking from my part and information. As I said, we'll be sharing the slides with you.